Alright, we've made it to video number 10. Hopefully you're not storming through these too quickly. Make sure that you're comfortable with everything that we've done up to this point before moving on to this video. First, we're going to go through some syllable exercises to get warmed up as usual, and then we'll move on to Danhauser again and have our first exercises with eighth notes. So let's go ahead and get to those syllable exercises to Dandelot's book. Well, we're also going to look at the first exercises that have eighth note notation. So this is number 16, and try to group the syllables together and maybe put an accent on the first syllable if you can. Like we see sol la, and then we see do re mi fa sol la, and then fa mi re do si la. For example, those are like three groups basically. You can see that they're all stepwise. And our mnemonic syllable patterns can be useful because we're used to hearing the syllables in this order. Let's go ahead and do this one. Again, I'll give you a count of 4. So think groupings and put an accent at the beginning of each group. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sol, la, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, fa, mi, re, do, si, la. Fa, mi, re, do, si, do. Mi, fa, la, si, mi, fa, si, la, sol, fa. Do, si, mi, fa, mi, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, si, do. Mi, fa, do, re, la, si, do, si, do, re, do, la, si, do, re, sol, la, si, do, do. And don't worry if your accent patterns don't match mine exactly. Just make sure that you are grouping the syllables, as I said. Let's move on to the next one. I'm going to skip number 17. We'll go to 18. So in this one, you can see that we have lots of groups of thirds. And again, our mnemonic syllable patterns that we talked about in another video will come in handy for this because we'll be used to hearing the syllables in that order. So you can see we have a group do mi in the beginning, then we have fa la, and then we have sol mi do la, which is a single group, and then lots of groups of thirds, ascending and descending. So let's do the same thing with this one, but think of groups in thirds. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do, mi, fa, la, sol, mi, do, la, sol, si, re, fa, mi, do, la, fa, re, si, sol, mi, re, fa, do, mi, sol, do, fa, re, sol, mi, do, la, re, si, fa, re, sol, mi, re, fa, si, re, do, mi, do, la, sol, mi, si, re, si, sol, la, do, fa, re, mi, sol, la, fa, re, fa, mi, do, do. Alright, let's do the same thing, but this time in bass clef. Let's look at exercise number 16. Looks like this. Again, a lot of stepwise motion. Think groupings. Here we go. Count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fa, mi, do, si, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, fa, mi, sol, la, do, si, re, do, la, sol, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, fa, re, mi, do, si, do, re, mi, re, sol, fa, re, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, fa, sol, do, re, fa, sol, la, si, re, do, mi, fa, sol, la, do, si, re, sol, fa, la, sol, fa, mi, fa, sol, do, si, sol, la, si, do. Alright, the next one is a little bit more challenging in terms of finding groupings. If you want, you can always write in the groupings. If you have this exercise on paper, for example, you can use little legato marks over the syllable groupings. It is always easier to read groups than it is to read each syllable individually, as you can imagine. Okay, let's go ahead and look at exercise 17 in bass clef. Looks like this. Okay, count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do, re, do, mi, sol, la, si, sol, do, si, re, do, si, la, sol, si, do, fa, mi, sol, la, fa, re, si, do, mi, do, la, fa, sol, mi, sol, la, fa, re, si, do, si, sol, fa, mi, do, re, si, do, mi, sol, mi, do. Okay, let's look at the first exercise in Danhauser's book with eighth notes, and that's going to be exercise number 37. It looks like this. Let's actually stick to syllable reading for a second and go through this a little bit faster than the tempo indicated with syllables. Let's take it at about this tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. Ready? And. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, si, la, sol. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, si, la, sol. Mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, la, sol, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, mi, sol, do. Sol, la, si, do, re, si, la, sol, do, si, la, sol, la, si, do, re, si, la, sol, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, sol, mi, sol, re. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, si, la, sol. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, si, la, sol. Mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, la, sol, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, mi, sol, do. Like I've said before, it can sometimes be useful to separate the components in solfège. If you want a crutch before reading a piece, if it looks a little bit more difficult than what you've done, you can go through and read the syllables first, and then when you actually go through and sing it, it's not the first time you've read the syllables. It can be a little bit helpful. Let's go ahead and read this one, solfège, and it's going to be a little bit slower than we were just looking at. It's going to be about like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this one's again C major, so let's do our little warm-up. Do, mi, sol, la, fa, re, si, do. Let's go ahead and put some grace notes in first. Alright, so we can see in the second measure, getting the la from a C, making it stepwise, basically just filling in gaps here. Alright, let's go ahead and do it. Our first notes, do. Here we go. Ready, and. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, si, la, sol. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, si, la, sol. Mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, mi, fa, sol, do. Sol, la, si, do, re, do, si, la, sol, do, do, si, la, sol, la, si, do, re, si, la, sol, do, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, sol, mi, sol, re. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, si, la, sol. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, si, la, sol. Mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, mi, fa, sol, do. So that's how that one goes. If you feel like it, you might do it again without me. But let's go ahead and move on to the next one, number 38. So immediately when we see this one, we should start grouping the syllables and notes in our mind. You can see we have an 8th rest followed by 3/8 pretty much throughout. So the syllables are like sol, la, sol, do, re, do, la, si, la, sol, la, sol, fa, etc. So let's take a look at this one with grace notes as well. And I've used grace notes pretty sparingly in this one. So our first note's going to be sol. Let's get that from our triad. Do, mi, sol. Okay, here we go. Don't forget to conduct. Ready, and. Sol, la, sol, do, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, sol, la, sol, do, re, do, si, la, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, mi, sol, do. Re, do, si, la, sol, do, si, la, do, si, la, do, re, do, si, la, sol, do, si, la, do, si, la, do, re, do, si, do, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, la, sol, 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 do, re, do, si, la, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, sol, la, sol, la, sol, do, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, mi, sol, do. Alright, I'm going to skip a couple to get straight to the mixed note values. Let's take a look at number 41. And it looks like this. Think about where you might put in grace notes, where you might forecast having difficulties. And here's where I chose to put them in. Pretty basic stuff, basically gap filling, and then you can see me getting in the first system La from Do, Si, La, as we've done before. Nothing too fancy here. We're going to do this one a little bit faster at about 80, which will be about like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, here we go. First notes. Do. Ready? And. Do, si, la, sol, 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 fa, mi. Do, si, la, sol, 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 mi. Do, si, la, do, la, sol. La, do, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, mi, do. Do, re, do, si, la. Re, do, si, la, sol. Re, do, si, la. Re, do, la, sol, la, do, mi, re, do, si, mi, re, do, si, la, mi, re, sol, re, do, si, la, mi, re, do, si, mi, re, re, do, si, sol. Do, si, la, sol, 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 fa, mi. Do, si, la, sol, 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 mi. Do, si, la, do, la, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, mi, do. Alright, the next one's at the same tempo, starting on the same note. Let's go ahead and do it as well. Here's what it looks like. Think about where you might put in some grace notes, where you might forecast difficulties. And here's where I decided to put in some grace notes. Alright, first notes. Do. Ready? And. Do, si, la, sol. Do, mi, re, do, si, la. Do, re, do, si. Do, si, do, re, do, si, la. Re, do, si, la, sol. Re, do, si, la, sol, do. Re, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, do. Mi, re, do, si, la. Re, do, si, la, sol. Sol, la, si, do, re, mi, sol. Sol, la, si, do, mi, do, sol. La, do, re, do, si, mi, do, si, la. Do, re, do, si, do. Sol, la, si, do, re, mi, re, do.
sol, la, si, si, do.
All right, next one we're going to do is number 43. It's a little bit faster. It's going to be about like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's what it looks like. Think about where you might put in grace notes. And here's where I put them in. And feel free to put them in anywhere where you think they might help you. I was thinking of putting in grace notes in the fourth measure, where we have that somewhat difficult leap of re, la, re. But the tempo's increasing, and we'll just do our best to get those notes. All right, first notes again.
Do.
Here we go. I'm not going to take the repeat. Ready, and.
Do, si, re, mi, do, re, la, si, re, do. Mi, do, re, do, si, la, si, do, re, si, do, si, la, sol. Sol, la, si, do, re, mi, re, do, si, la, si, do, re, do, sol, la, do, si, do, re, do, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi. Do, re, la, si, do, si, la, sol, do, si, do, re, mi, re, do.
And that's going to do it for now. Next time, we'll move on to the 3/4 meter, talk about the conducting pattern for that, do a little work in that. And also, I'm going to have a little progress check before we do that you can use to gauge your progress up to this point. But until then, happy sight singing.